Folks, welcome to an all-new episode of So Bad It's Good. This is your pal Ryan, and this is your Friday episode. Oh my God, we did it. We made it to the end of the week. Once more into the breach to talk about these heathens, these housewives of Real Housewives of Orange County. I want everybody to gather round and join hands, and let's do a Gretchen and Slade prayer to the dear Lord helping us get through this recap and find out who's lying and who's telling the truth. Wait, I'm getting word from the Lord. What? Everybody's lying? Oh, okay. Well, that would make a lot more sense. Yes, folks, welcome. We are here to talk about episode 9, even though it feels like episode 18. And I don't know what to, I don't know. The show wants to kill me. The show wants to kill all of us. It's 9:20 at night. I'm starting this very late. I was waiting for the last interview that Katie Ginella has done this week to come through, and I think it finally did for the night. I mean, last count, I think she's done 12 or 13 interviews, and we'll cover a couple here today in the beginning, because you can't just watch the show anymore. It's the show, the podcast, the action figures, the book, the blogs. You gotta pay attention to 30 different things to make heads or tails of what the fuck is actually going on this season. My God. Please, let's just set some rules from here on out and I know it's so hypocritical of me. I host a podcast, but come on, man. What Kyle Cook said, summer should be fun. Was there ever a time that Housewives was fun? I seem to remember, but maybe it's just one of those wishful thinking memories where in reality it's never been fun. But my God, we're going to make it fun today. I swear to God, it's going to be, if it kills me, we will make this fun today. We will find something. We will find some moment that we will laugh heartily about. But at the end of the day, what I kept thinking, and I've been putting this recap off because, I mean, it's not near the valley yet where I've gotten that dark of a feeling, but it's not too far off at this point, and we're only halfway through the season because we got our mid-season trailer at the end of this episode, which we will also talk about. I think at the end of the day, you have to accept a couple of things. And it kind of helps me get through all of this, is that every person on this cast has lied about something. And I don't mean in their time on the show, but I mean in this season or out there in interviews. They've all told one lie. And I figure if everybody would just tell the truth, or at least if a couple people would just tell the truth, we could get a clearer picture of what is going on. And when I start to try to piece it together, it legitimately, like, no, all joking aside, it gives me a headache. It gives me a headache. You know, I'm having to think about Kiki and Gretchen, and now Scheana's involved. My God, does Scheana get residuals every time she's able to affect some sort of storyline on something that is non-Vanderpump Rules related? I mean, I love Scheana to death, but my God, we need to bar her. I mean, Alex Baskin needs to have a terse phone call with Scheana telling her to please just worry about book sales at this point. Please do not worry about any other cast in any other show, and we'll explain what that means if you have not heard the latest. But remember, take everything that I say, take everything that you read in the Bravo community, take it all with a gigantic grain of salt. But once again, like we say every week, this is not a show about a bunch of female friends, like a fun female friend group. It's the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. No, this is a show about women trying to stay on a show. This is women desperately trying to cling to a job. And I almost sometimes would feel better if we just actually, if we sent them to some sort of like DeVry or IT Tech and gave them some sort of trade so we could feel better about watching the show. I mean, I sit there and worry and be like, what the fuck are these people going to do after this? Like, legitimately, I keep waiting. Like, Gina, your real estate career, I think it's getting better, but let's get it to a place where you don't need the show. Because I also have a feeling that, I don't know, I think Gina's days are potentially numbered. And I hate to say this, I think Emily's days might be numbered. We're looking ahead at season 20, and what you're seeing now in, like, the press or the Bravo blogs or whatever we're seeing is people trying to, in some ways, it feels like audition for season 20. is that season 19, in their eyes, is done because it's edited together. All they have to worry about is interviews, and they have to worry about the reunion, which Katie Ginella will be at the reunion. But what you're seeing now is all of these people trying to align with each other to get on season 20. And that's why we have weird alignings like Katie Ginella with Tamra Judge. And I'm sorry, just to my point last week, and you guys hate when I say this, but Tamra, I mean, she is working some sort of witchcraft. You have to give it up for Tamra in some way. You don't have to like her, but you have to give it up because she is able to move in such wicked ways, and it always seems to work. And to me, it's always so bumbling and blustering and just sloppy, but it seems to work on every one of these ladies. I mean, listen, Tamra left the show a couple of episodes ago, and she must be clicking her heels after that lie detector test because the heat's off her completely. Nobody's even questioning Tamra at this point. It is wild. It's like being on a cast with Jax Taylor and focusing on Danny Bucco. It's wild. So you have to give it up for Tamra. I mean, that's talent in some way. It is talent to have Tamra on a cast and to have her rule the roost. And she does it in pretty much the same way season after season, and nobody can nail her down. The only person that can actually seem to point it out is Gretchen. But Gretchen, I'm sorry, I don't believe her as far as I could throw her. She seems small. Maybe I could throw her far, but I don't want to even do that. But it's like these people are all like, there's all such it reeks of desperation everywhere you look. The only person that shouldn't be desperate to be on the show, yet seems to really want to be on the show, is Heather Dubrow. Like, I don't know. And this is what happens when you have a show that's lasted 19 seasons. Because I was thinking about it. I mean, we're about to have the 6th season premiere of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City on September 16th. And my God, I got the screener for it this week. I got it 2 days ago, and it's taken me everything in my power to not watch it because I want to have something nice for the weekend. You know, maybe pour myself a nice Chablis. I'm actually not drinking right now, but, I'll just do imaginary glass of Chablis. I'll put on my sexy bathrobe, and I'll just watch Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. But the thing is, they all collect information on each other, and they try to blast their past out at them on the seasons. Even Salt Lake City does it. But the thing is, Salt Lake City is only 6 seasons in, so we're not nearly as tired of it as we have been tired of it on Jersey, and we're tired of it on the OC. And so when you have a cast of nobody is a reliable narrator, I mean, truly, nobody is a reliable narrator, and you might fight me on that, but let's fight. Nobody is. That there's really not somebody to root for. And I get it. Man, I told you last week, and you really see it happening, is that Katie, in losing the scenes and losing the seasons, is winning the audience. And the adulation that Katie is getting, or that I see that she's getting from some of the Bravo fandom, is wild. Because I'm sorry, Katie's lying about things too. I hate to burst everybody's bubble. And no, man, I want to see Katie back next season. In fact, I think she now has a good chance of coming back. But I'm sorry, she's lying about a few key things. But it's okay, Katie, because everybody's lying. You shouldn't be unfairly singled out for being a liar when other people are lying as well. And the frustrating thing, and it's like this is some David Lynch Twin Peaks shit, is that nobody is going to be able to tell us what the truth is because they will all cling to the lie. They will all cling to the lie. Because I don't think Andy's going to bust it wide open. In fact, I would feel so much better about watching seasons if they told you on the first episode, it's like, you're going to see some shit this season, but by the end, we are going to tell you exactly what happened. We are going to tell you exactly. And also, Katie, if you're recording Shannon having a conniption during like the photo shoot, why aren't you recording Gretchen at dinner? Who else have you recorded? And can't we use some of those recordings? You're telling me you're only doing it for Shannon? Why aren't you recording Kiki? Why aren't you recording Gretchen at like the steakhouse you went to? Record everybody at this point because we can use it. So obviously another fun episode, and I'm in a really good mood about it. How are you guys? Are you good? You know what? We're going to get through this together, and this will probably, I don't know, it'll probably be a long one just because I have to work this out. And I've been just in my head about this, and it's always good to talk things out with friends, right? That's what therapy is always. This isn't therapy. I mean, it kind of is therapy, but it's always good to just get it out of your mouth instead of hiding behind a keyboard. I mean, I'm hiding behind a mic right now, but I know who I'm talking to you guys. We're buds for the most part, unless you're hate listening, and thank you for the download. So we'll try to go through this, but even for me, a professional a professional TV watcher, you guys. I'm not calling myself a journalist, but a professional. I sometimes can't make heads or tails of it. And when I really go deep and deep, I get to the point of, who gives a shit? Like, honestly, who gives a shit? Like Katie having a scene with Matt saying she misses her friendship with Jen. Yeah, I mean, and by the way, very believable. She real tears, all of that stuff. But at the same time, you think about it, I'm like, you've only known Jenn Pedranti for 2 years. You're a 40-plus-year-old woman. That is not your real life. It's none of these ladies' real life. It's their real life for 3.5, 4 months of the year. Maybe just 3. Who knows? But it's not their real life. Now, some of them, they never put down the cleats. Like, Tamra's in this shit. And that's why I think Tamra has an unfair advantage over most housewives. And that's why she rules the roost, is because she lives this shit 24/7, 365 days a year. If she's not in it, she's talking about it on a podcast, she's monetizing it. She really has built up a little shit kingdom. And I'm saying that in admiration. Now, we always like characters, right? And then we always like to hate characters. And that's Housewives or any kind of narrative storytelling or reality storytelling. It works that way. Sometimes I will enjoy disliking somebody on a show more than I like liking somebody on a show. But Tamra, to me, it's always just so glaringly obvious the move that she's making. And you would just like, my God, and the thing is, if you talk to any of these ladies away from the cameras, you would probably love them. I mean, they're probably all delightful people. Even when I've had the chance to talk, they're all delightful. I mean, truly. I mean, I would love to have a conversation where, you could feel me down to make sure I wasn't wearing a wire, where I'd be like, Tamra, come on, just cut the shit, man. Can you, the moves you're making, do you go in with the moves? Do you think about them nightly? What are we doing here? And Gretchen, there's a lot of points. Like, how does Gretchen make her money before Housewives? In that long stretch of time when she was on OC before, and then she went out into the wilderness, and we pointed out that Slade doesn't really have a job. These are people, they need some skin in the game. They need this opportunity. And does anybody think about it? Gretchen is a friend of this season. And my God, isn't it curious how a friend of has worked herself up to a main storyline and she's in every episode? That is very Scheana Shay coded, right? Because now we know from Scheana's book was that there were many seasons where she was a day player. She wasn't even considered a series regular. Even though they didn't tell the general public that, they did not pay her on a season basis. They paid her on a daily basis for the scenes that she was in. And I always noticed that Scheana managed to be in every scene or, every big storyline of those seasons because she was able to find a way to work herself in there. Now, was that plotted out? Was that strategy, or did that just happen? And it's very interesting with Gretchen as well, is that for a friend of, she's now become one of the centers, whether it be with Katie or whether it be her relationship with Tamra. And now we're getting some Slade backfire as well. But isn't that interesting? Because she's showing that she's a necessity for the season that they have, which then makes her chances greater at coming back as full-time next season, where you start to make some real money again. Which I think that money would be necessary for them and their lifestyle that they want to lead. Those are just opinions that I have, but I think that does make a lot of sense. And please let me know where I'm wrong in all of this, because it is okay to be wrong. I watch these housewives be wrong every episode. So what do you guys think about this? Where are you at with this season? I mean, I see a lot of negativity. I will say, I mean, it gives us something to talk about. It gives us something to pass the days, I guess. And I think the question is, if I try to look on the bright side of things, is what would make me happy? At this point, what would make me happy? And I guess in this scenario is if we just found out the truth. If we just found out the truth across the board. And when always you're bringing up storylines from 17 years ago, like the Naked Wasted episode with Tamra and Gretchen. Folks, I've been introduced to a lot of products while doing this show, but there is a new product that I have fallen in love with. I am actually going to use my own product code to continue buying these, and that's because our friends at MeUndies is doing the Lord's work. I mean, I am wearing their underwear as we speak. I can't show you, and you probably don't want to see that, but it is truly an incredible product. As we enter the fall, you're looking for cozy clothes, and you want the same thing for your underwears. So this is style for everyone. MeUndies has a cut for every butt with over 20 different styles in 100 different colors and prints. There is unmatched comfort. MeUndies' signature super soft micro-modal fabric is breathable, stretchy, and unbelievably cozy. It is perfect for crisp mornings, chilly nights, and everything in between. Whether you're layering up for a hike or lounging in flannel all day, MeUndies moves with you and it keeps you comfy. Want even more seasonal comfort? Try the Breathe line. It's designed with moisture-wicking and anti-odor tech to keep you fresh through fall workouts or just a long day of pumpkin picking, responsibly sourced as well. They use sustainably sourced materials and work with partners that care for their workers. Not happy with your first pair of MeUndies? It is on MeUndies. That's right. So with over 30 million pairs sold and 90,000 five-star reviews, MeUndies are an essential summer must-have for every drawer. I use this. You need to use this too. So right now, as a listener of my show, you can get cozy and spooky for less with deals up to 50% off at MeUndies.com/SoBad and enter promo code SOBAD. That's important. That's MeUndies.com/SoBad, promo code SOBAD for up to 50% off. MeUndies, comfort that's made for fall. Use the same underwear I'm using. We're talking about our friends over at Mint Mobile. I recently switched, and you should too, because you know what doesn't belong in your epic summer plans? Getting burned by your old wireless bill. And for a limited time, Mint Mobile is offering 3 months of unlimited premium wireless service for $15 a month on the nation's largest 5G network. Say goodbye to that old plan that is going to be overcharging you. And this network, it is high speed. You get unlimited talk and text. So ditch that overpriced wireless. Get 3 months of unlimited service from Mint Mobile for $15 a month. This year, skip breaking a sweat and breaking the bank. Get this new customer offer and your 3-month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month at mintmobile.com/SoBad. That's mintmobile.com/SoBad. Upfront payment of $45 required. That's equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on the unlimited plan. Taxes and fees are extra. See Mint Mobile for details. DraftKings Casino has your playbook for gaming action all season long. Play thousands of popular slots for a shot at jackpots. Over $400 million has already been awarded. New players get 500 spins on Huff and More Puff over 10 days. So download the app, use code SOBAD, and claim your spins after your first $5 wager. Get in the game with DraftKings Casino, home of the largest jackpot win in online casino history. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. 21 plus, physically present in Connecticut, Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, West Virginia only, void in Ontario. Eligibility restrictions apply. New customers only. Non-withdrawable casino spins issued as 50 spins per day for 10 days. Valid for featured game only and expire each day after 24 hours. See terms at casino.draftkings.com/promos. It ends October 5th, 2025 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's great to revisit old memories, but to have it then as a watered-down storyline instead of focusing on something new, I think that's dangerous because it shows us there is nothing new. Because we want new things. Come on, you're telling me with a group of ladies with actual lives that there's not actual things going on in their lives that we can be discussing? that we could build something greater than the sum of its parts, that we don't need to rely on the history of a franchise, and that we were able to go on the talent of the people that are in this cast. I don't know. Those are just some opening thoughts. We're just warming up here, folks. That's all. We're going to do some other news stories like we always do on Fridays to try to calm down before we ramp back up. Let's see what we got, because I think maybe this should just be an all OC episode. But let me see. I made a list, but maybe I'll save this for the pop culture roundup on Monday with Sophie. F it. We're just going to do OC because we gotta cover the Katie Ginella podcast stuff. And anyways, a new Justin Bieber album comes out tonight. He announced Swag 2, the sequel to Swag 1 that came out earlier in the summer. So there's some other pop culture news. Let's get into this. Katie Ginella was on the Viale Files, Nick Viale's show. Nick Viall, and she did a big interview. This was Bravo approved. So listen, I was given information that Katie was let go of this season around the Amsterdam trip. Now, who knows? That looks like it's false information, or maybe she thought she was let go because she was disinvited from that trip. But it doesn't seem like she was let go because she is going to be at the reunion, and she was given permission to be on the Viall Files, and she was on 2 T's in a Pod, which once again, when you're on 2 T's in a Pod, even if Tamra is not there and it's just Teddy doing it, it still feels a little weird because that's Tamra's boat, man. That's Tamra's ship. It just feels like there is a lot of, it feels like there should be some kind of government regulation there. And I feel like the government could help with it. Maybe that's what they need to do, just like help with Bravo. Okay. So Maritza, who I work with, she took these notes on the Viall Files. She listened, and let's go through these notes together. I'm not sure if you are listening or going to listen, but we'll try to go over some of the highlights here. Now, Katie does not want to discuss Kiki Monique, the blogger / journalist / host / Instagram, whatever we're supposed to call the people that do what we do. But Katie didn't want to discuss Kiki Monique because it's giving her time that she didn't ask for. They met at the Diamonds and Roses event. And at first I was like, oh, Diamonds and Rose, which was Dave Quinn's book, which was the journalist that Kiki told about the meeting allegedly that she had with Katie, where Katie allegedly said that Gretchen told her about Naked Wasted and being potentially roofied by Tamra. Dave Quinn is the one that put the Diamonds and Roses book together. So that is not that event. Diamonds and Roses, Maritza reminded me, was an event I actually went to where it was a pop-up shop where they had Bravo props and you could order meals and drinks and it was a lot of fun. So that's where she's saying she met Kiki. And Kiki said she and her friend were in OC and invited her and Jen to lunch. They met up. She regrets having lunch with her. Yeah, I mean, you should. I mean, you should. I don't know. There is something weird about housewives interacting with us. I mean, it's fun at BravoCon and it's fun to interview them, but I don't know. I mean, sometimes I will say working on Jeff Lewis, I've become friendly with some of these people where I actually do consider them friends, but I don't know if I would ever go, hey, Shannon, let's have lunch. Like, I wouldn't even put her in that position. So to do that, you're already kind of crossing this, I guess, metaphorical line that shouldn't be crossed in a lot of ways. And also, if Kiki is, considering a journalism or this in like a journalistic way, was this meeting as a journalist or was this meeting as, hey, let's be buds? Was this meeting of let's be buds, or was Kiki there to try to get information out of her? And I was on Jeff Lewis with Kiki last week and Kiki explained it, and Kiki's done tons of interviews since then on all kinds of shows. And so, I mean, I don't think Kiki's necessarily enjoying this, but any press, good or bad, they say, is good press in some ways. So it's getting her name out there. But, she does keep having to say that she is trying to defend her reputation. And I don't know, sometimes when I hear that, I understand it because there is a lot of hate in our Bravo community. There really is. But we always have to remind ourselves, it's just Housewives, man. I know we take this so seriously, and I take it seriously as well. And you guys listening, you take it seriously as well. But come on, it's just Housewives. This isn't Watergate. So she said she idolized her and loving to support a woman of color in this reality TV space. Kiki told her that everything was off the record. So this is interesting and something that Kiki didn't add. But I don't believe Katie is a reliable narrator as much as you guys are loving her right now. So Kiki sitting her down and saying everything's off the record, that's very interesting. But she didn't hold true to that, Katie points out. Katie said she didn't bring up Gretchen in this conversation. This was an early fall lunch. Kiki said it was in October, right? This was in October. So this is before Gretchen was even cast on this season of Real Housewives of Orange County. They found out Gretchen was cast in December. And then that's when Gretchen and Jenn Pedranti, Ryan, Matt, Katie's husband, and, Slade, they all had that triple date at Mastro's. My God, now I just want it to come out that after Mastro's, they had a key party and they all swung with each other or something, like very ice storm. Katie thought she would be friends with the ladies and expected them to fight about petty things like clothes. Katie says she was okay with talking about custody of her kids, but she didn't perceive it as being used against her. She said she's the first Asian housewives on Real Housewives of Orange County and the first Korean adoptee. Now, I think that actually is important. Representation matters. We've always spoke about that. And as silly as I just said housewives are, it is still important to have representation. Like, I think we all are aware of that because imagine being, a Korean person or an Asian person and seeing yourself on television. That stuff is important. Like, dude, a dumb white guy, I see myself represented on television and movies every day. But some people, it really means something. So I don't want to discount that at all. But also, I find it very hard to believe that Katie thought that these housewives would just fight about petty things. Katie's a smart person. A lot of these housewives can play dumb, but they're very smart. And I don't know if I ever will believe that somebody goes into this going, I just thought we'd fight over like who wears that blouse. You were wearing the same blouse that I did. I don't know what voice I'm doing right now, folks, but you know what I'm saying? Like, just with a cursory Google search, you would know that these housewives fight about insane things, about painful things. My God, you're so aware of it all the time. So Nick asks if being a Real Housewives fan was weaponized against her. And Katie says she watched Real Housewives of Orange County in the beginning, but stopped because it got too dark. Was that around the Naked Wasted season? Before appearing on the show, she watched the previous season and the reunion to see if there was a resolution. She has been a fan of Real Housewives of New Jersey and Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. She said she has heard that being a fan can hurt you. And they bring up Janet, or as they say, Fanet from the Valley, which, guys, this is day 3 of filming on the new season of the Valley. Hey-o, there's a darkness. I'm in Los Angeles right now, and you can feel there's a darkness over this town, even darker than usual. So she's saying being a fan of Jersey and Beverly Hills also just discounts that original point of, I thought we were just going to fight about petty things. Then you're not somebody who's watched any of these shows. And even if you go back to Beverly Hills' earlier seasons, I'm sorry, that Taylor Armstrong season where Russell had unalived himself, one of the darkest seasons of reality television. I think we always try to convince ourselves that these things used to be fun. And then I go back and watch, and it was just like, well, maybe we've changed, but they've always been dark. They've just been less produced, but still very, very dark. Now, Natalie, who is Nick's wife, asks if there is a path moving forward with Tamra. And Katie says, yeah, there has to be. Tamra's on her team, and Tamra holds a lot of power. Katie says, yes, that Tamra reached out towards the end of filming, and Tamra has been in her corner because Tamra sees trends. Tamra sees the direction in which the river is going. Whether we like that or not, she is able to see 100 yards ahead. I mean, she might be seeing it out of drunken eyes that are on Xanax, but she can still see pretty clearly even with all of that. Tamra that's what I'm saying. She sees how this is going to go down because she's participated in it so much and she talks about it so much, right? Katie says that she and her husband, Matt, have been in the media for 20 years. Katie says she's always been friends with bloggers. That's what she calls content creators and journalists. Guys, I'm still confused, and I would love some sort of ruling. Maybe we can get this figured out by BravoCon of what we call each other and, I've always said I don't want podcasts to even be called podcasts anymore. And bloggers, it just reminds me of 2005 Perez Hilton rather than what is actually today. I don't know. Maybe we just call this Thunderdome or Hellscape or something what we do. Who knows? But in terms of media for 20 years, we know Matt works for the Golf Channel, right? So she's around these things. But also, if you work in media, and Maritza did say that Katie was very well-spoken, very clear, but also seems very media trained. And that could be from prepping for this onslaught of questions and curiosity, or it could be something that she's learned over Matt and her actual career. But this is what I'm saying. Wouldn't it be great to know more about her past? And I don't mean just her, but about all of them, to actually get to know these women inside and out instead of just, instead of talking about memes and podcasts and who said what on whose podcast. In fact, I get scared when Katie's on Nick's podcast because there's going to be questions at the reunion about, you were on the Vial Files, Katie, and you said this. Or Katie's going to say something so egregious that on the first episode of next season, Gina, if she's still on the show, will be like, I can't believe Katie didn't even mention me on the Fiales. Nick asks who's the biggest hypocrite when it comes to interacting with content creators, and Katie says Gina and Gretchen. I guess she's now working for Big Tamra, like Big Pharma, so she can't say Tamra, but the obvious answer would be Tamra. But once again, I'm not saying that as some sort of slur or slight, it's just that she knows how to work that shit. Now, I don't have any interaction with Gina. I had one interaction with Gina at Kathy Hilton's party by the door and the exit on the way out with Travis, and they were really fun and normal and nice. I mean, I will say I was standing there. I mean, they didn't know I do any of this, but I just kept thinking about how large Travis's balls must be and if they hurt at the end of the night. But it was really fun and normal, just like normal people. But I don't know. I've never had any kind of DM interaction with Gina. And Gretchen, I don't follow her. I don't know. You guys might have more interaction with her. And I will say, Gretchen, definitely, once you're in a Housewives show, even if you're off it, you're always in it. Like Kelly Dodd still talks about this stuff every damn day. I mean, you're just kind of drawn to it. So as much as you complain about these shows, they still want to seem to be in the orbit of these shows. Nick says, has your relationship with the media changed since becoming a housewife? Katie doesn't trust anyone now, feels used, and is more careful with bloggers. Yeah. But by the way, Katie is riding a huge wave of support. So I think she really loves that part. So who knows how careful? And you can always really tell the accounts that are like so pro Katie, and you're like, they obviously have a DM relationship. It happens. It's nothing bad about the bloggers, but like, look how we got here. This season has been all about Katie having relationships with bloggers, if you think about it. From the Bravo babe to Kiki Monique, it's like, yeah, I don't know, even in the capacity that I work in, I've learned so many lessons over the years, and it's really best to like kind of try to insulate as much as possible and not try to get, as Tom Schwartz says, lost in the sauce, man, because it's so easy to, right? It feels good. It feels good to talk to somebody that's on TV. And then you kind of realize, oh, shit, they're a real person. But there is some kind of idolatry of like, look at where you are. And we're all trying to carve out our names. We're all trying to make something of ourselves. I mean, that's just the nature of life. And so it does kind of make you excited if you have an interaction with somebody that you watch on television. And sometimes that goes both ways. It can happen for the good, or sometimes you want to say something so mean that they react to that. And you feel good because you got a reaction based off something really nasty that you said about somebody on TV. But yes, not trusting anybody is good, Katie. Do not trust anybody. Don't even trust Tamra, because Tamra will use whatever information she gets from you and use it at you at some point next season. That is just That's just the playbook, and you can't take it personally at this point. You know who takes it personally still is Shannon Beador, and that's why I find Shannon so fascinating to watch, because she manages to get hurt every season because she still doesn't understand, and you see that it internally wrecks her. Which, by the way, I'm still okay with Shannon having pretty much a blasé season because she had such a kick-ass hard season. I mean, the fact that she even survived last season is enough for me to be like, yeah, man, just take it easy. Just do your little physical comedy, eat cheese, fall down during volleyball. I'm good with talk about not getting felt up below the neck and just you deserve that, Shannon. And you don't deserve Tamra keep calling you an alcoholic. Like, yeah, just have an easy season, right? But yes, be careful. You shouldn't be talking to any of us. Like our comments. If somebody says you're great, say thank you, but that's it. Don't give out any information. Protect your peace. Natalie asks about Katie's status with Jenn Pedranti. Katie said it was hurtful to know Jenn was there and could have backed her up because she was there on the steak dinner night, right? She left the Persian New Year party, which was also the lie detector test party. That's all Persian New Year should also be called, AKA the lie detector parties. She cried for days. She said. Katie said she loved Jenn. Their kids became friends, but it didn't feel good and they don't speak. Katie says Jenn saw her going down and didn't want to go down with her. She also said in another interview that Jenn and Gretchen both hate Tamra so much that it's worth Jenn lying against Katie because they hate Tamra even more than Jenn likes Katie, if that makes sense. Now, every time I watch Jenn, she just is another person that she really does seem daffy sometimes. You're like, girl, are you this forgetful? Do you not hear this many conversations? Because it's not just this steak conversation. There's many times where she's like, I don't know. What? Was I there? Yeah, girl, lock in. You got to start remembering. You got to start remembering. And the thing is, she does seem like such a nice person. But you can't play dumb and smart at the same time. You can't lead with innocence, but at the same time, we do know that you have told some fibs, that you've participated in some lies. I mean, listen, where we ended the last season with whatever her fiance, soon-to-be husband Ryan, was dealing with the FBI and the Shohei Ohtani, the Dodgers pitcher, all that deal. I thought that would actually be brought in a little bit more in the season, but that's completely hush-hush. But I'm sorry, at the end of the day, Ryan was involved in some shady stuff. And Jenn was not able to tell the full truth because she's protecting the person that she loves. So every time I think, oh, Jenn does seem like such a salt of the earth person that just seems kind of like just blown around by all these forces, that's not exactly the case either. Natalie Joy says it was hard seeing Was it hard seeing Gretchen lie? Katie says Gretchen says she misspoke about going to the hospital. Natalie says, were you frustrated with Tamra lying about Gretchen not going to the hospital? She said, now I would, but we're okay now. Which is like, yeah, Tamra's on your side now, so you got to be okay with everything. And by the way, is it hard seeing Gretchen lie? No. It's like, is it hard watching Basquiat paint? No, it's got to be beautiful. To watch an artist do their art, part of Gretchen's art is lying. Are you kidding me? And, that's what I think is fascinating about Gretchen is somebody that leads with the Lord, but at the same time gets caught up in such mischief and lies and the twisting of the truth. That's why she is an interesting person to watch on Housewife. To have so much makeup spackled on your face already tells you so much about somebody's personality. Not that they're necessarily covering up or something, but they want to present a certain image to the world. That's not a bad thing. But once again, Gretchen, not a reliable narrator, somebody that needs the show, somebody that needs it desperately, and she's with Slade of all people. Right? Anyways, a Viofile employee says he felt the lie detector was a setup and was a pile-on. Guys, are we under any sort of false... Did we think the lie detector test was like the end-all be-all? I've never seen a lie detector test on television and been like, okay, now we're going to get some fucking ants. Now where the truth is coming. No, it's a gimmick. It's a bit. It's like Carrot Top with a prop. Are you kidding me? I laugh, I giggle. I love lie detector scenes. They're so silly. Do I ever go, well, now we're fucking gonna really get it and this is gonna hold? No, these aren't admissible in court. It's ridiculous. Of course it's a setup and a pile-on, but it's a setup and a pile-on for everybody. I mean, if we're to take it seriously, we did find out that Heather Dubrow was lying about calling the paparazzi on herself at Disneyland, right? Like Tamra got caught up in some shit and Katie got caught, but I don't care. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't care. I've seen that dude like on so many reality shows, including Marriage Boot Camp with Gretchen and Slade from 2014. She's already done a lie detector test with that same dude and she lied and said she didn't do a lie detector test. Okay, that's a lie. I mean, are we doing that much television where we're forgetting that we've done lie detector tests in the past? You think you'd remember everyone at this point. Katie looked up the lie detector guy online. Her daughter says the man was in a Jake Paul video. Yeah, dude, the guy has a long resume of being on television and social media things, being a lie detector guy. That's his lane, man. It's like Elton John singing Rocket Man. You want this guy to be the lie detector guy. He's always that dude. But even in this episode, we see that she's trying to present evidence to Jenn Pedranti. Like, come on, did anybody truly take this seriously? In the end of the day, we'll always look back at that episode. It's funny. It's haha funny. Get it? Haha. She said she walked. Nick said Katie looked nervous. She said she walked into the house and the air felt thick. By the way, do you go back at like Katie's outfit? She's so dressed like a very demure librarian, you know, like knowing she was walking into something potentially. And if you were Katie at that point in the season, you know that people are coming for you. Like she had to have been aware. But once again, Katie doesn't need to worry because she's surrounded by people that are also liars. And some are lying about innocent things and some are lying about bigger things. She knew everyone was mad at her from New Orleans. Katie said they brushed past lie detector results. Jen saying she was uneasy about marrying Ryan, which I'm sure that'll be a storyline for the rest of the season as we see in the mid-season trailer. Heather calling the paparazzi and Tamra about the autism diagnosis. That's what I'm saying, man. You have a season where Tamra, we have a false autism diagnosis. And we're talking about any of this other stuff. To me, I feel like we could do a solid 4 episodes on that fake autism diagnosis. Like, come on. You know, Tamra's so damn good at this. She's asked about the Asian designers comment that Gina said, right? She said she would never say she would wear Asian designers exclusively. Katie said Gina never apologized. This was another thing that Kiki had brought to that episode, saying not only did she say this thing about naked wasted with Gretchen, but she also said something about you, Gina. What? She said something about me? But Gina was like, yeah, that's definitely, yeah, I did say that because I was pissed at her. And then we actually had unseen footage. So Kiki was right about that. So they met up, Kiki and Katie. And Kiki wasn't lying about the Gina thing, but definitely was lying about the Gretchen thing. If Katie would just admit she told this to Kiki, so much of this would fall into place. But since she isn't doing that, we have to twist ourselves in pretzels and find a way where Kiki, it's in her best interest to lie to favor Gretchen because Gretchen is friends with Scheana. I mean, we have to go down such a rabbit hole to make that work. I'm sorry. Like, I think Katie is a great housewife in a lot of ways, but I think she's lying about this one piece. Katie said Gretchen apologized to her, but sounded like it was written by ChatGPT. I could see Gretchen just speaking like ChatGPT, just naturally. Like Gretchen trained ChatGPT. Katie's daughter put her apology through a ChatGPT checker. That's what I'm saying. Like Katie and her family, they're all smart, man. They're thinking all of this through. Nick asks why Katie was targeted. Katie says it's because she embarrassed them last season. Katie says because of Emily and the nanny comments about Heather and the paparazzi pics. Katie says she has no regrets about her first season. Now, remember, she also allegedly lied about Sutton. Like, I'll say I'm Sutton's track. Because that's how Katie had met some of these ladies, was at Sutton's, like one of Sutton's parties. And Sutton appeared on last season of Orange County. But even Sutton says now that Katie lied about things. Now, yeah, I mean, Heather did seem very livid at Katie last season, and Emily obviously very upset about the nanny and the kids' comments. But as we see even in this season, Emily is very sensitive about her kids. I mean, really, like just at the drop of the hat, she is very sensitive about her kids. So but even if you go through that, you're like, well, how are they not this upset about shit Tamra has done and said about all of them? That's when it's hard for me to make sense of it. And then I get like my headache starts up again because I'm like, wait a sec. I've heard horrible things other people have said about both of these ladies that are not Katie. But this is what Katie thinks. Nick wants to know if Katie is considering not coming back. She says she needs another chance for people to get to know her. No, Katie wants to come back. And if things keep shaping up the way that they're shaping up, Katie will come back. I mean, this is the art of the off season. Lose the season, win the off season. Nick says, do you think Bravo has a new cast member hazing problem? Oh, God. Wouldn't that be a great episode where they just haze new cast members? Not the way in which he means, but like, make them chug like a handle of vodka and go like, go run a football field naked or something, with like maybe spank them with a paddleboard. Just real sorority type shit. Katie says it's not a Bravo problem. Yeah, Katie's talking really nice about Tamra and Katie's talking really nice about Bravo. They're great. Everybody else, not so much. Nick says, have you lied on the show? She said yes, when she protected Gretchen. I lied protecting Gretchen in New Orleans. Nick asks, what's your opinion is of recording people like Shannon, even though Shannon recorded others? Oh, God, I wish Katie was like, I'm recording you right now, Nick. Katie says if you're in a public space, people might hear what you're saying. Katie says she shouldn't have shared the video of Shannon, only to Matt. But we know that isn't true either, because Alexis Bellino has gone on record saying that Katie definitely played that to her. So this is another lie that Alexis Bellino, even though she is not my favorite, John Jansen, we know that, everybody can't be lying except for Katie. She says Shannon is fun to hang with, but Shannon is holding on to this. Yeah. Have you met Shannon Beador? She's definitely hanging on to this, right? Reunion is not recorded until next month. So we're in September now, so it'll be recorded in October. That makes sense. Katie says she will die on the hill about Kiki conversation and is owed some apologies. Good luck. Dude, I feel like this is going to be like a narc at a biker rally. These ladies, unless these ladies are paying attention to the motion of the ocean, and then things might calm down by the reunion because they see that it is not working in terms of the majority or what it feels like the Bravo audience, but we'll see. But to die on the Kiki Hill, that's really interesting. So if we're to take, and sorry guys, I know I'm over talking, but welcome to the podcast, but I'm really trying to work this out in my head. So either in this scenario, we have Kiki flat out lying, knowing that it is hurting somebody else, and I'm going to lie, and I'm going to throw Katie under the bus and make up something completely. Got the information elsewhere, I'm pinning it on Katie. So you're saying that's Kiki. Or Katie's lying about this. A very simple lie that would make sense. That I was told this by Gretchen at dinner, and oh my God, Kiki, this is off the record, but it is so crazy. You don't even know, man. I had a steak dinner with Gretchen. Oh, the way Slade eats his steak is disgusting. But also, she said, remember like old OC naked wasted? Kiki, remember that? Oh, they said that Tamra got her so drunk she had to go to the hospital, and she said there was something like she got roofied, right? So which is it? Listen, I don't believe Kiki to be a liar, and I don't know what benefit that would do. I mean, do I think it was probably at the end of the day best to not get involved in this? Yeah. You don't want to be a punchline to anybody's joke on these shows, and you don't want to, I don't know. It's hard. You want to be considered a reliable narrator of some sort. And when you get into this kind of arena, like, oh my God, I would not be able to go toe to toe with Tamra. Tamra would fucking stomp me. Are you kidding me? These are professional assassins. The shows themselves are professional assassins. You can't go up against like these kind of juggernauts. So I just, I really wish Katie would rethink about dying on this hill. And maybe you're just too far in, but come on, man. It's like Sherry Papini or Unknown Caller and, like all of these things where we just see these lies get so out of hand. Nick says, do you think they regretted you not going on the cast trip? Katie says she told Jen, if I'm not there, you're going to be the target, and that is yet to be seen. But there is a target. There always has to be a target, because once again, this is not about a group of female friends. These are gladiators. Katie says she isn't excited to do the reunion, and Nick says, I'll be upset if you're not on next season. Well, we don't want to upset Nick, right? We do not want to. That's always my main goal. Do not upset Nick. I don't know if I'll be upset if she's not on next season, but I think it's interesting. I just, I don't know. I mean, this show is just so far down in the road in terms of how many seasons it has. I think it is impressive to watch the media onslaught, though, and it is exciting to watch somebody get tanked on the show, but get built up after the show. So that part of it I enjoy, but I do think there are some major things that Katie is still fibbing about. And like I said, I don't hold that fully against her. The Kiki thing is starting to get a little intense because now we're going to talk about in a second that there's a lot of other rumors popping up, is that people are now twisting themselves in pretzels of like, well, maybe it's this vast conspiracy against Katie that Kiki and Scheana and Gretchen are all a part of, right? It's this vast conspiracy because everything's a conspiracy these days. Or it could be the easiest answer to this is that, yeah, Katie did tell Kiki. It can be that simple. Okay, so now here are a couple interesting things from Two T's in the Pod, hosted by Teddy Mellencamp with Katie Ginella. They do talk about Katie's daughter, and she says her daughter was already an influencer that had hundreds of thousands of followers and was an influencer before the show. But that's also another reason of like, yeah, the show shouldn't have people that are influencers or have children that are influencers, because these children or anybody that has this platform are going to speak their mind on their platforms. And I think that's what happened with Katie's daughter. They got involved in the nanny gate with Emily Simpson. Like if you made sure you cast people that didn't have those platforms, you wouldn't have to worry about these scenarios. And then she was asked about dealing with the Bravo Babe, the account, the creator, that happened earlier in the season. And Katie says, when Tamra said, did you call her? My immediate thought was, and I don't think they showed this in the episode, was, I don't have that girl's number. What are you talking about? I don't know her. And she says, I was texting and driving, but I was looking in my AT&T app and I was looking at the date that happened with the Bravo Babe. And I was like, look, if I can go back to my cell phone records and show who I called 3 days before, 3 days after, the day of, I can prove that I never called this girl. So I went back to her in my DMs and I looked at the date and then I saw the audio and I was like, fuck, I did call her on Instagram. So Katie's saying, I didn't lie to Tamra because I didn't call her on her cell phone, but I called her on Instagram, which I don't know how you forget a phone call no matter what platform you're using. So that's a little hazy for me, right? So she's saying she completely spaced. And she said the next morning she had a scene with Shannon. She said, I told the producers, I got to talk to Tamra. I need to tell her. I need to be like, hey, I figured it out. And luckily, Tamra was very kind about it, Katie says. Really up Tamra's butt at this point. And Teddy says something that I always say, that's exactly what we want when we watch a housewife show, is conflict and resolution. We don't want this like a drawn out situation, which I think is happening. Yeah, totally. But you also have to be wary of somebody feeding the blogs, the press. You don't want a Lisa Rinna situation, which Lisa would do this all the time as well. You want to play within a certain set of guidelines, right? Katie says, Teddy, I think you should make a TED Talk about that to my cast, maybe. So she also says there's parts that just haven't been talked about, and I think I haven't heard it as a viewer. Now I'm a viewer. Oh, this is Teddy. Now I'm a viewer and a podcaster, and I watch more Housewives than probably anybody at this point. They said, you again then denied filming Shannon before admitting recording her. Why did you deny? Just fear? Or, see, this is the other thing about Katie is that she does seem to have a habit of lying and then going back and saying, oh, no, I did do this thing. So there is this pattern. I want to point that out. Doesn't mean I'm anti-Katie, but she does seem to have this pattern of denying something and then admitting it. Katie says, let me think back to that. I don't remember denying I did it. I denied that I played it for Alexis. It wasn't a video. It was a voice memo to my husband, and I sent it to Matt right then. And Teddy says, but then you also showed Alexis. And she says, no, I did not. No, we talked about it at lunch. And Teddy says, oh, so you told her about it. And she goes, yes, I told her about it 100%. I did. And Jen was at that lunch. But like I said, Alexis says she heard the voice memo. But Katie says she never had a lunch with Alexis alone. I've never been alone with Alexis, Katie says. Teddy says, so you told her about a voice. What in the first place? I mean, we all know that Shannon gets a bad rap for some of her behavior to production and whatnot on the way she behaves. Do you think she gets a pass for some of her dramatic outbursts? Katie says, I think so. I think we all get passes for certain things. Well, maybe not me. I feel like I'm pretty nice to production. I may have met someone recently that worked with her on a show in Cabo and kind of backed me up on this. It was never to expose her. She's talking about Love Hotel. She says, Shannon's behavior was very erratic when she recorded her. It was screaming, literally screaming. Her glam team had been waiting for her for over an hour. She was late, maybe even 2 hours, and it was just the most outrageous thing. And Teddy's like, okay, so you were just more gossiping with Matt. And she says, correct. And I mentioned this recently, and I found out that I'm not the only one that recorded her in the room because it was so outrageous. Okay, so who else recorded her then? I mean, and is that going to come out? She goes, so how come you didn't just say I recorded you? And Katie says, what did I say? And Teddy says, you kind of beat her around the bush a little bit. Like, it's kind of that's the part that gets me because I met you. I love you. She goes, Teddy's trying to say, I just want you to fight for yourself a little bit. And Katie says, no, you're totally right, Teddy. And I think sometimes things are moving so fast in these scenes that I'm like, wait, what? It's like watching a tennis match a lot of times. See, this is when you get into the dialogue and kind of break this down like a script, everything she's saying. If somebody is smart enough to record somebody's outburst, then it's much harder for me to believe that, oh my God, things are happening so fast that it feels like a tennis match and I don't know what to say or do. No, when things get wild, you know you're cognizant. You're like, this is batshit crazy what Shannon's doing. I'm going to record this shit and send it to my husband. That is somebody that is very aware of their surroundings. So it's I could believe that you are trying to figure, it's like a bad improv exercise where you're trying to find your way into how do you fit into this scene. But she says, even with the Alexis hearing it, it's a video. And I was like, wait, what? Like, and the Bravo Babe stuff, I kind of space out. And I think at the Golden Door, I had taken my anxiety medicine and it made me a stump. Wow, everybody on this cast, from Tamra on Xanax to Katie on anti-anxiety meds. Like, to me, wouldn't you love that storyline of just helping housewives kick their anti-anxiety medication for filming? So Teddy keeps saying, to fight for yourself a little bit. Okay, let's get to the Kiki Monique, like Beetlejuice. We start bringing up the Kiki Monique. Teddy says, correct me anywhere that I'm wrong. There isn't a part of me that doesn't believe that you went out to dinner with Jen, Ryan, Gretchen, Slade, and all this was talked about. And Katie says it was. So we'll get into the Jen of it all in a minute. But what I was told, who knows if this is true, but I was told that Gretchen and Scheana Shay are very tight, Teddy Mellencamp says. And Katie says, yes. Teddy continues, and that Scheana told Kiki Monique. And Katie says, I've heard that from multiple people too, okay? But it is very interesting, is that Teddy is the one that put this out there. All Katie has to do is agree with it. You say, oh, I heard that too. Teddy says, so I'm glad that we got that figured out. So I heard that they are very tight. So there's multiple sources that could have told Kiki. So we've now opened up this other avenue. Is that, okay, maybe it's this vast conspiracy where Gretchen, who has been friends with Scheana, remember Gretchen actually was at Scheana's first wedding to Mike Shea. She was there at that wedding. They have been friends for a long time. Scheana's Rolodex of friends is very, very deep. I mean, this is true. They are friends, right? And so in this scenario, they are saying that Gretchen told Scheana and Scheana told Kiki, and then Kiki skipped talking about this with Katie and went right to Dave Quinn and Jacques Peterson from the Daily Mail. Right? Is that what we're saying? Teddy says, okay, I'm glad we figured that out. So I heard that they are very tight. So there's multiple sources that could have told Kiki. Katie says, there's an account that was created just for this I was sent. I'll send it to you if you like. And actually, they sent it to Matt, and Matt sent it to me. And he was like, this is how it makes sense. Matt does seem very involved. I mean, we're making fun of Slade a lot in this episode, but Matt seems deeply involved in all of this behind the scenes. In fact, he just did an interview with Chef Stu, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, where Matt is doing podcast interviews, right? But he says, and it was Scheana. There's clips of Scheana calling Gretchen with Kiki on their podcast together, Shenanigans, saying, how do we get you back on the show? How do we do this? And it's also it's this stream of like 20 slides of how it makes sense that it allegedly was them. Now, I believe the account she's talking about is Face Reality 16. I love that account. So much good work in that and points out a lot of good stuff. But I want to point out is that the Katie Kiki meetup was last October. Now, the interview that they're referring to right here was in December with Gretchen calling Scheana and Kiki on Shenanigans. So this is after the fact. So it wasn't like they talked to Gretchen on that podcast and then Kiki met with Katie. Kiki had already met with Katie at that point. Teddy says, I heard that you said on the Vile Files, what did you say? I'll die on that hill. And Katie says, yes, I'll die on that. I didn't tell Kiki. I did not. And then Teddy says, but you do gossip with Kiki. And she goes, yeah, about myself. I was sitting at that lunch and she knew about the episodes that I hadn't even seen. She had seen screeners that I hadn't even been given. So that was in regards to last season. And that could be possible. I mean, I get screeners to certain seasons and I'll have them before Housewives. Usually it depends on the cast, but they will usually give the cast a week before. If they don't trust the cast, they'll give them a couple days before, and sometimes they'll give them to them the day of. In fact, I usually get the Orange County screener a day or two before the episode airs, and this week we got it this morning. And I don't know what was the holdup or who had to sign off or if they had to change something, but that's, so that is definitely possible. She said it was before they filmed the reunion last year. And I was like, oh my God, I feel this way. I feel that way. So Katie was opening up to Kiki about all of this. We were talking about being women of color, the only woman of color, and kind of commiserating in that a little bit. And that's when I told her there are some things that I've seen with these women that make me feel a little weird. And that's when I brought up the Gina thing. Not the Gretchen thing, but the Gina thing. But this is very interesting, is that Kiki having this meeting, if you're talking about all these things and commiserating about being women of color, wasn't there some sort of affinity from Kiki? Like why did then Kiki go and hand this stuff off to reporters? Or when did the relationship sour between Kiki and Katie if it was so friendly and you were bonding over these big things about being women in this industry? Wouldn't you want to champion each other? What happened? Where did this all go wrong? So yeah, the Gina thing she completely admits to. She says, we'll talk about the Gina thing in a bit, but I have to first get into this a little bit more. So the reason the naked wasted situation became such a big deal was because, from what I was told was that Slade, I think things are getting a little bit confused. I think because if you are told, if you say something or Matt says something or Slade says something or Gretchen says something, they're not being tied together. And Katie says, I didn't say it. But if Slade says it, Gretchen says it. If Matt says it, you said it. You're all at a dinner together. And Katie says, correct. And somebody, I think, it was that Up and Adam guy just said, I have a theory, and my theory is that it wasn't Gretchen that said it. It was actually Slade, and that's why it's semantics. And Katie says, no, Gretchen said it. It came from her mouth. Teddy says, how is there any stretch of the imagination that Jen couldn't remember that she said it? And Katie says, she was sitting right next to me. And Teddy's like, was she blackout drunk? No, I think we were on our first drink. So Gretchen was, and Katie's like, okay, can I paint the picture for you? It was a rectangular table. It was me, Matt, Ryan on one side. Directly across from me was Jen, Gretchen, and Slade. So the guys had one in and we had one in. Gretchen and Jen are talking. I'm basically quiet because they're talking about their hatred of Tamra. So I'm just kind of sitting there listening. I have a Coke in one hand and a martini in the other. together because they're my two favorite drinks. So I'm just sipping. And then I'm listening, and then she tells the story, and I like elbow Matt, and I'm like, listen to this. They told a lot of stories of things that Tamra had allegedly done to them. Not Jen and Ryan, Gretchen and Slade. Now, I believe this. And I believe Tamra did do things to these people. That all sounds on the up and up. And this is our first dinner with Gretchen and Slade. I don't know her. Okay, I've had one lunch with her. I've seen her at a Balmain party. This was the end of September, long before she even knew about casting. She knew about casting in December, so I don't know. So this dinner was at the end of September. Kiki was in October. The Scheana podcast with Kiki and Gretchen was in December. And that's also when Gretchen found out about being cast was in December. And then Katie says, maybe they did know and they were setting me up. I don't know. Yeah, so maybe this is like a long con. So she says, I'm just meeting these people and they're screaming this from the rooftops in the middle of a crowded restaurant and they're just meeting me. Also, we need to talk to somebody at this restaurant. Come on, there's got to be somebody at the restaurant that knew these were housewives and were like paying close attention to what they were saying. And people are saying, oh, I told her in confidence, a friend. I told her something that was supposed to be sacred or whatever word she used. She never said, hey, I'm going to share this with you. Keep it a secret. Don't tell anybody. This is bad. Bravo is involved. Don't tell anybody. None of that was said. Teddy says, what's all this 911, call me 911 thing that happened when you were in New Orleans? And she goes, okay, it had come out. Tamra had said something to her. Hey, Katie's going around and saying, I roofied you. Number one, I'd like to point out, I never used that word because she didn't use that word. She used the word drug. So I never used that word. So I got a call from Matt. What is going on? Slade just called me. He said, you have to back up Gretchen. Tell people she never said it. He sent me a 911 text. He's called me repeatedly. Teddy says, why is he so involved? And she says, well, I mean, this is all he's ever known. This is, it's funny. He can't get a job for the last 10 years because of he's blaming Tamra for it. Yes, they're talking about Slade. He says, I have no idea why he's involved. He has a daughter and I think he needs to work. I don't know. It's funny. My sister-in-laws don't watch the show. Well, now they do because of me, but they don't do reality TV. One's a professor and actually they're both professors. And they were in Northern California on a walk in a park. They ran into Slade's mom randomly. They sent Matt this text and it was like a photo of them with his mom. And they're like, we ran into Slade's mom. And she was like, he's a narcissist. He's on his 4th Orange County housewife from the show. Oh, yeah. He also dated Lauri, they said, from the OG Lauri from OG OC. But the fact that Matt bumped into his mom in a park, like it's all weird, all tied together. Oh, God, this is a little boring. I can't go through the rest of that, folks. I think it's stuff we all heard before. But it's very interesting because Teddy multiple times is like, fight for yourself, which is interesting because it seems like Katie is getting people to root for her in a certain way. And maybe that's just who she is at her core, is that you want to protect Katie in some way? Or is that some sort of facade that she's putting on? And once again, I am not coming after Katie in any way, but I will say a lot of these people try on personalities and see which one works. Now, to end this segment, this very long segment, before we get to the actual flippin' recap, this was posted by Bravo Snarkside, one of my favorite Instagram accounts. And I think just to put everything in perspective and to get back to Tamra, who I think has the tenacity of a cockroach, I think just truly is just phenomenal in how she works. I'm really complimenting her here. This meme says, who's the one who started all the Katie expose in this group? It's Tamra, because told Shannon that Katie played audio to Alexis, told the group what Katie said to Kiki, right? This all starts with Tamra. Now, Tamra says, who does she hate most on the cast? Tamra, at this point, hated Jenn Pedranti and Gretchen, right? And Jenn Pedranti and Gretchen both hate Tamra. Who's the only one in the group currently talking to Katie? Tamra, right? And who are getting the most hate over it right now? Jenn Pedranti and Gretchen. They're getting the most hate about Katie right now. So Tamra started this, and Tamra's also being the one that looks like sort of a hero right now, being the only person in this cast to talk to Katie. Like, she's played all sides brilliantly, and not enough that's why I love this meme, because pointed out of like none of the Katie stuff would have started without Tamra. because Tamra's also the one started the Bravo babe stuff of like, did you call the Bravo babe? All came from Tamra. And that's why it's so interesting that Tamra's able to flip-flop and nobody ever fully calls her out on that. And listen, we say this all the time. It's okay to change your mind. We do it as fans all the time. But it is interesting that never a spotlight is shown on directly how powerful Tamra is within this franchise. I mean, truly, like she's the only person talking to Katie. And she's managed to get the heat put back on Gretchen and Jenn Pedranti. It's really wild the way she works. Okay, folks. That's the first part. Like, it's a whole show just to talk about the show behind the show. We are in full meta right now. Also, breaking news, I said earlier, my one pop culture story of the day that wasn't OC was that Justin Bieber was releasing Swag 2 tonight. We now have it on good authority that Justin Bieber is not releasing Swag 2. So we are doing a retraction of the Justin Bieber Swag 2 story. Okay, coming up right after this, we start, finally, the recap of Real Housewives of Orange County, Season 19, Episode 9.